Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. Thanks as always for making us your first listen. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet only $5, and if your bet wins, you're getting $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So download the FanDuel app today to get started. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you once again for a Locked On Texas Tech special on top of special edition. It is a championship game caliber Locked On Texas Tech Matador Mob mailbag. We are turning it over to you. Your questions, our answers, Chris, as we're getting ready for a big one, to say the least, Saturday in Arlington, Red Raiders and BYU Cougars. We will get to the state of Baron Morton and other concerns QB-wise this weekend for Texas Tech. Also want to get to some questions about what we could see on the other side of this season with so many things continuing to change, whether it's playoff resume interests and scheduling interests tied into that or otherwise. Want to get some thoughts on some things in the news recently. But let's begin in the trenches, between the lines. That's really where we saw Texas Tech first time around have a lot of success in stifling that BYU ground game. And defensively, obviously they took it away as well, but really able to limit what BYU was able to do all around, but started with a puny day on the ground for the Cougars. So Eric is asking, Chris, do you think there's any expectation BYU could alter a plan? Do you think there's still a big concentration on the ground game, either running back or QB oriented? Or do you think there could be some different kind of shots maybe through the air given the results first time around?
Yeah, their longest run of the day was maybe their first run from scrimmage was a 12-yard run from LJ Martin. I think their longest pass on the day was a 21-yard reception to Chase Roberts, if memory serves. I think they did try to – they got behind and they did try to spread you out a few times, and I think they had a little bit of success, but then you quickly adjusted. That's what Sheil Wood has been so good at this year is, again, not overcoaching his guys. But, again, and we've talked about this as the week's gone along, you may get them a little bit. I mean, I think the Kansas State game was a perfect example. Show me some of that QB run game. Show me some of those bells and whistles. But then after you empty the bag on that, okay, now what else you got? And nobody's been able to just lean on something and be better. So because I've had people ask me, hey man, similar questions this week. Do you think that they will try to do something different? Yes and no. I think one is that this is what they're built to do, is to run it. This is what they hang their hat on. They're not going to go away from that. Now, maybe they don't do it quite as much, but so I do think that they'll look for a couple of shots down the field. I think they'll try to replicate maybe what Arizona State did a little bit. But I would say that your corners are really good. I think in that Arizona State game, Sam Leavitt was exceptional. He was barely getting those passes off. Some of them were just arm punts, and they were able to overload you to where they had isolated Brendan Jordan on somebody. And I'm sure, and I think Sheil and this defense has learned a lot from that. They have learned a lot from getting out formation and all those things. But I do expect them to take a few shots down the field. But with that, you open up now the pass rush, and you open up some different things too. And this is a quarterback that can hurt you with his legs. He can run. It's just a different kind of deal here. It's also worth mentioning too, this has probably not been one of those things that probably has been talked about a lot this week. I don't know if it needed to be, but I'm going to point it out here. There's something to be said too about BYU having to play through their bye week was before you last played them. Okay, so now they've been in this TCU, Cincinnati, UCF, Texas Tech included, and these deals. you are fresh. These are physical games that you're playing in. I don't know if that's worth anything. I think that Joey feels like it is a little bit. We'll see. But you've probably had some time to install some different things and wrinkles, much more than they probably would have, just because they're grinding. But at the end of the day, they may throw it, but they're not going to wholesale change because that's just not who they are. You don't really have time to do that. But I do think that they will turn their quarterback loose a bit more, if that makes sense. I think that they are mindful of, much like Texas Tech said after the Arizona State game, if I had a redo, I wouldn't try to protect Will Hammond as much. I would turn him loose, and I think BYU will have a similar mindset with their quarterback. Hey, man, but that could mean more chances for your defense, more chances to rush the passer, and all the things. They have legit weapons on the outside. I mean, JoJo Phillips, Chase Roberts, Parker Kingston. I mean, they've got legit people to throw to, but I don't know if that offensive line is built to hold up for 60 minutes that way. So we'll find out.
All right. Thank you for that question. We've got Sam, Robert, and Dana asking for any gauge of a Baron Morton health percentage this week, if you could offer one. And we also had Landon asking, Chris, pardon me, Landon asking about Baron Morton's injury and whether or not there's enough time in some of these scenarios, like in the playoff where you've got a week between, conference championship game and whatever, or an open round. Is that time that could help to heal his injury, or are we talking more, it's got to be months of kind of rest to really see progress there?
And this is all Baron related here? Yeah. I mean, I think he's in a much better place than he was prior to this BYU game, actually. I think that may have been the worst he felt before a game is before that one. And I think he is in a much – because, I mean, he's played in just over a half in the last, 3 weeks because of the bye week, and then only playing, one series into the third quarter this past weekend. So he's had a lot of time to rest, and they've protected him. He's kind of gotten good at the mental part and like the walkthrough part and going through practices without actually having to go through practices. And so I find it funny if people, he's in a boot this week when, people are like looking for a little rain of hope. Yeah. That's not anything abnormal. Hell, he's really been operating this way he did it 2 years ago for an entire season, basically. He will play well in this game. And he will be a difference for you in this game compared to the first one. I firmly, firmly believe that. And there may not be anybody in that stadium other than the head coach and his wife and your athletic director and Cody Campbell and all that will enjoy the situation more because of what he's endured if they take care of their business. But I think that because I would also tell you that much like we're talking about BYU down the field, I think Texas Tech feels like there was a lot of meat left on the bone there too. This is a BYU defense that will blitz a lot in early downs. We've talked about this, but they'll play a lot of man-to-man with that. And I think you're better prepared to deal with that. But I think you will give your Terrence Carters, your Reggie Virgils, your Caleb Douglases some opportunities down the field and find out if BYU can handle that. And much like the BYU offensive line, it's a good BYU defensive line, but it's not like yours. Their strength is in their linebackers. And if you can identify those blitzes and have a plan there, which I think that they have worked on, you could see more shots down the field for Texas Tech too. I think there's this thought that –
First, today's episode brought to you by FanDuel, and football is in full force, and FanDuel's keeping you stocked with action every game day with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet only $5, and if your bet hits, you're getting $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. Any way you like it, FanDuel has you covered. Quick, easy, and secure every time. If you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
there's this thought that because the coaches have kind of said, we don't really need to change anything right now. What we're doing is working and all that, that Texas Tech will just go into this thing and be very similar. And there'll be some of that. But I think that you're kidding yourself if you don't think that they will do some different things. They haven't added some new wrinkles, all that stuff. And I think that you're arguably playing the most motivated team in the country on Saturday in BYU. Their story is being told a lot, and it should be. I get it. They have to win. They feel like they're disrespected. It's us against the world. It's them against Notre Dame. It's them against Alabama, whatever. And I get it. I listen to those arguments. Their freshman quarterback wasn't even listed on the top freshman award in the country, which is ludicrous. But with all due respect, to quote my man Cowan, this is about you. This is about not winning an outright conference championship since 1955. If you think you're going to roll into this thing and walk out of there with any regrets, you're sadly mistaken. I mean, they will. You will be aggressive. You will put your best foot forward, and then we'll just kind of see what happens. But you're not going to leave any bullets in the chamber after this one.
I'm glad you bring that angle up because we actually had a question from Benji as it relates to that. He asked, do you think we're playing the team with the most to prove this weekend? I guess resume wise, or potentially kind of where they are in the thick of the playoff.
Yeah, I do. I think, and this part sucks and I hate it and it's not right. I totally agree with the arguments that BYU and that the Big 12 is making. They are correct. It is. We would be saying the same if Texas Tech was on the flip side of this. Okay, but you're not. But you are playing a program that is now endured 2 years of the disrespect. I think they got hosed last year. I think that their coach is going to have them really fired up because the rumors of him leaving, and then now I'm returning, and I think it's a lot of feel good going on right now in Provo. And I think that they'll feel like they have everything to prove, and they will come in with a purpose. Okay, but it's not about them in this conversation. This is about what you are trying to do and the code you're trying to crack and all the emotions that everybody that's listening to us would have. You haven't been in this scenario before, and it is very meaningful to finish the job, finish the stated goal here. Part of it has been achieved because you're here, but now it's time to finish. If you ain't first, you're last, all of that. Right. And, but I do think you'll be playing a motivated group, but I mean, this is a mature, very focused and hungry team. And there won't be any time like this first chase. If we're going through this a year from now, it'll feel similar, but it won't feel like this one does. I mean, everybody are associated with this thing, walking around with a lot of nervous energy, a lot of excitement, a lot of stress, and you're just ready to let it all out. And 90,000 plus will do just that Saturday morning.
Wow. Yeah. And I'm liking the thought too, back to your answer regarding some of the questions between the lines of, some shots down the field and some meat on the bone for Tech through the air. And it's not just down the field, but maybe you get those guys in blue on their heels. And then I got visions, not of sugar plums dancing in my head, but Jacoby Williams or Cameron Dickey underneath. Just a little dink, a little dunk. All of a sudden it's 75 later. So any of these things I'd be happy to see play out. Or if you just got to go back to RTDB life, run that damn ball. Fine with all of the above. I think you're right, though. There's a lot of convo based around like, well, what is there to change? What we're doing is successful, yada, yada, yada. But we're going Dan Fouts on them. You can't hold anything back now. It's the conference championship game, Chris. I do want to, before we leave sort of the health conversation, had a question from Kyle and Trent as well. Anything to offer on David Bailey, or is that kind of just off the radar, nothing to see here, anything to monitor?
Good to go.
GTG, let's go. We're rolling.
Yeah, good to go. And I know some have asked. He tweeted something out yesterday from himself in the training room with Will Hammond, but I know people are kind of curious about Skylar Go Howard. That's probably a conversation for the next couple of weeks. But I think that if you were to get a bye, there's a chance that he could be available around New Year's Eve.
Okay, so there were several asking for a number, like how real is the convo playoff odds for him? 1 to 10? Are we at like a 5, just like a maybe not situation?
I mean, he probably doesn't have. I mean, really needs to have a good next 3 to 4 weeks, right? To where it can't really have any setbacks. You just don't have time for it. And again, this doesn't count toward his eligibility. So they would still be able to try to secure the extra year. And again, that's a bit of a long shot, I think, but they're going to try and explain their case. And hey, he played in a game with 8-minute quarters. Hey, he got hurt in the 4th or 5th play of the game. So we'll kind of see what that looks like. And obviously didn't even play in the second half of some of those games that we were talking about early in the deal. Okay. So, but this, you don't run the risk of jeopardizing any of that. And I do think if he could, at the very minimum, be a rotational guy, just suit up and play some, I think that it would be a lift to everyone involved, including himself. Yeah,
no doubt. He's firing us up from a scooter. Imagine if he gets to put some pads on again. Thank you to Blake, Ashton. I don't know what color Blake is. Blake, Ashton, Sally, Lindsay, Robert, Dustin, and Ryan asking about SGH, probably among some others as well. Clay asked about Will Griffiths this weekend.
Mitch Griffiths, yeah.
Mitch Griffiths, sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah, we're getting all of our quarterbacks. Like, yeah, I think Will Griffiths would actually be a really good quarterback together.
Mitch one Griffiths, needs to borrow a leg, one needs to borrow like a elbow or something. Yeah, just swap them there.
He'll be okay. I mean, I don't think he'll be 100%, but you've got Lloyd Jones, Chubb will be there, and you hope that you don't have to get into that scenario anyways with seeing Mitch Griffiths at all. But I think he'll be available. He's practiced some this week and may not be 100%, but we'll take it as it comes. And again, the hope, and that's the one. So I've been asked this too, and it's worth pointing out. If you were to not make it into the CFP, what would that look like? You're sitting there at 4, win, and I think that you get a bye. And it doesn't matter how you win. I just think if you have more than the other guy, you're going to hold on to your spot because Oregon was sitting there at 5. They're sitting at home. They can't do anything about their standing, and you will have beaten a 11th ranked team in a neutral site, all that stuff. A loss and you are, we think, still in. A lopsided loss, that's when you get nervous, okay, if you're losing by 3 touchdowns or something like that. But then if your past precedents, if your quarterback situation is very unknown, I think you can be punished for that. So those are really worst case scenarios, but people have asked, and so that's what I've answered with. But that's really the only scenarios I think that exist that you would not be in the tournament. But you win, you'll have a bye. If you lose a close one, I think you're probably in a position where you're hosting 2 weekends from now, and and not guaranteed there, but I think you would be. That would be dropping you from 4 to 9, 5 spots. I just don't think you're going to drop that far. Now, you may not have as good of a bracket projection and all that stuff and all that. But anyway, sorry for the
all good. Thanks to no Matador mobsters for operating in the worst case scenario frame of mind. We had not one question from our crew about that's not how we're moving forward. And the rest of you Debbie Downers out there bothering Chris with these questions about what does it look like if we lose? Leave the guy. Look, man. Chris is right there spurring the team on the sideline, all right? So if you're bringing Big Handsome down, could you be bringing the Red Raiders down? It's all connected, Chris. Give me names here. I'll give them a holler. I could be your buffer. Okay, this question here from Lawrence and Todd, sort of a different subject. Todd, and I like the way he phrased this, so I'm more so taking his wording, asked for a reaction to the butthurt reaction from Austin. First, today's episode brought to you by Aura Frames. The holidays are officially here, which means gift-giving season is on. And if you're wanting something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. Because Aura isn't your average picture frame, you can preload the frame with photos before even gifting it. So when they plug it in, boom, the memories are already there. No setup headaches, just instant smiles and enjoyment. Perfect for friends, grandparents, parents, newlyweds, fellow Red Raiders with endless uploads of pictures and 30-second videos through the Aura app. And packaging comes gift ready. No price tag, no wrapping needed. A huge time-saving win. This will be a Christmas gift that actually gets used, not just forgotten somewhere in a drawer. And right now, for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using our promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's auraframes.com, AURA frames.com, promo code COLLEGE. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. And while you're at it, support our show by mentioning Locked On Texas Tech at checkout. Again, auraframes.com, AURA frames.com, with our promo code COLLEGE. Terms and conditions apply. Asked for a reaction to the butthurt reaction from Austin as it relates to their standing in the college football playoff world and future non-conference scheduling considerations. Also had Lawrence asking about this, and we had Randall as well. Are you afraid or concerned, Chris, that we could be losing some of our treasured non-conference P5 or P4 matchups?
Like you talking about Texas Tech?
No, I'm talking about college football in general.
Like,
are we story that's going on? Like Texas is saying we're not scheduling.
Oh yeah, no, I'm aware.
Yeah. Are you worried about this?
Yeah, no. It's a weak argument. I think he probably would love to have those comments back. Don't lose.
You think so? Really?
Yeah, don't lose to Florida, man. Are you telling me that they're now going to cancel their home game next year in Austin versus Ohio State? We don't want to do this. I mean, you realize how soft, with a lot of W's and F's and T's in that word. I mean, it comes off as, you're the University of Texas. Act like it. I mean, but guess what? He is acting like it because he's whining and complaining and wants the goalpost to be moved or home plate to be widened, and that's just not how this works, man. I mean, sitting there looking at it, they've got a home game against Ohio State. They've got a home game against Michigan the next year. They're at Notre Dame the year after that. They're not canceling those games. I mean, come on. Grow a pair, man. And grow a pair when you're down playing Florida, who was really bad and is firing everybody, and you got worked. I mean, come on, man.
I was surprised Kirk Herbstreit was carrying water for this as well.
Are you really that he was carrying ESPN?
Is that the ESPN? Like, the narrative is like, hey, you're going to lose these awesome non-conference games. I don't know whose narrative that is other than a fool's, because I would respond with, buddy, the non-conference sucks for 85% of the country. We're just now getting into the era where the expanded playoff has even incentivized having any of these. So don't act like now we're going the other way. That's where we've been for 100+ years, is not having these type of games.
Every league, because the SEC is going to expand it from 8 to 9 conference games. And that's the thing. Texas played an 8-game conference schedule, and then you could consider the Ohio State game, I guess, their 9th conference game. Well, they lost it. So, they're I mean, that's just because their other non-conference games are freaking Sam Houston, San Jose State, UTEP. I mean, what are we doing?
This is why we needed the bigger playoff, Chris, because it's much easier to slough off the complaints of number 13. We don't really care. They've got the biggest megaphone in the country, so obviously it's making more noise. But let's continue to expand so we don't have to care about number 15, number 17, number 25.
And that's part of the argument for expanding it to 16 or to 20 or to 24 is because you'll get more of these games, not less, because they won't have as much. You won't get punished by them as much. And the TV networks win big time because they get the best of both worlds. More playoff games, more. Now, it may be at the expense of conference championship games. You may not get those as much, but you may get more playoff games, and so that's the way it works. But you're not, and every league out there has a component in there where you are required to play at least one Power 4 non-conference game, which also includes like a Notre Dame or a few other programs that would suffice. Now you're grandfathered in because yours right now is Oregon State. Well, when you scheduled it, they were a Power 5 league and from the Pac-12, but you've got some NC States, you've got some Arkansas, you've got all that stuff coming up. But Texas has the Ohio State and the Michigan and the Notre Dame, home and homes going on. So they're not switching that. It's just it was a bad argument. Just win, man. Just win.
Either of those that people,
and they should have. They could have easily lost to Kentucky. They could have easily lost to Mississippi State. So while they're 9-3 and they should have been 10-2 and all this stuff, they could have easily been 7-5. It's just how it works.
It's the gauntlet known as the SEC, yeah. Starkville, Lexington. Not everybody has to run through that. Thank you for that question. Derek asking this question. With the Big 12 being changed from what it once was, do you feel like in addition to a conference championship, Tech really needs success in the playoffs to puff our chests out like we want to? I think it's a reality we all know, Chris. Do you feel that way as a fan, though, at all, that like now there's an extra step to take given, the blue bloods or premier opponents that have left your league?
To showcase what you can do in the playoff, and this has nothing to do with the conference championship game? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's more so in the sense that the Big 12 is not what it once was. So if you win a conference championship now, do you feel like you still need to pair it with some playoff success to really feel like you're doing something?
I'm not worried about that in this particular case. This is the way I'm operating this particular year. Now I'll answer the question in a second, but this particular year, it's all about AT&T Stadium and hoisting up that conference trophy. To me, anything past that is icing, it's gravy, it's whatever. That's the way I feel. Eventually, though, you may get to that point, yes. Eventually, you may get to where, like, it's not just good enough to make the NCAA tournament. You need to be in the second weekend of it, and you need to crack the code and get to the Final Four, once every 10 years or something. Like, so again, I've got to go back to, and I'm not trying to be short-sighted or anything like that, because their goal will be to absolutely continue to push forward and try to go achieve some success way past the conference championship game. But I just feel like that conference championship trophy is very important, and any success past that, because you win this thing, all the goals, all the plans. This was the deal, and you will have made the CFP. Yes, it would be great to win it, but I'm not going to base your season solely on how that goes compared to what you would have accomplished. Maybe there's a time that comes that you will, but that's what Ohio State does. That's what Oregon does. That's what Alabama does, and you're not that. That's what Texas won't be able to do this year, though.
Would love to be able to have to talk about that down the road after we've just
that's right.
Conference title after conference title. That'd be fine. Okay, a few more. Lance and John are asking about the crowd on the Tech sideline as far as dignitaries and whatnot. Do you have any feel for maybe some of the faces you might run into sideline in Arlington, wherever this weekend, and what is a huge weekend?
Yeah, I don't know. I think there'll probably be some WWE component down there, which has been the thing. Trust me, there will probably be some folks. This is more of a league title game kind of scenario, but I think I don't think it'll just be standing room only on the sideline. I think they'll try to but I bet you've got some former players, and certainly if Dusty or Cody or John Sellers or Gary Peterson, if they want to be down there, they would be allowed to be down there. But as far as former players go, I'm not really sure what to expect from that standpoint. But
you told us The Undertaker, right, already this week.
Well, the WWE is going to hand whoever wins this game, like, and the MVP, like a title belt and There's going to be some of that. That's part of this partnership that the league has with the WWE, and then there'll be some superstars. How about that are down there that compete in the squared circle. Yeah, there you go.
God, I wish Terry Funk was still around.
No. Well,
I had my choice.
And he's related to John Curry. So
is that right?
Truthfully,
makes
absolutely.
sense. That's why you stay to the end of the program.
Yeah,
there was some funk in that toughness.
Yeah.
All right,
absolutely.
This question here from Glenn. We also had Phil, and I believe Trisha weighing in. Chris, is it okay to cry if you win this game?
And I'm gonna answer that too, but I will tell you that. You remember Michael Hayes? Speaking of the W, he's the Freebirds. Von Erichs. Michael P.S. Hayes. The P.S. stands for pure and sexy. Michael Hayes actually sent a video to Coach McGuire 2 or 3 weeks ago, kind of pumping him up and praising him and all that stuff. And that was big for Joey. Joey grew up in the Metroplex, going to the Sportatorium and the Von Erichs and the Freebirds and the whole wrestling thing. And he was so Michael Hayes of the WWE, sent Joey a video 2 or 3 weeks ago. Just a little tidbit there.
I thought we were free of distractions this week, but I hope our coach doesn't get too starstruck.
No,
he or any of these guys.
He won't.
Can they cry?
I mean, I think if you're overcome with some emotion, man, let it out, man. There ain't nothing wrong with letting a little liquid awesome out. I might do that. I know your head coach will. I know the head coach's wife will. This will be a lot for a lot of people if that's the road that you travel here and you have more than the other guy, because I think the pressure is real here. I don't think people grasp that. Everybody feels it. The folks that have been around this thing a long time certainly feel that. But the people that are in it feel it. They want it for all of you. And at some point, it just kind of comes out, man. And that's why we love this stuff so much. It should mean a lot. And if it doesn't go well, it will hurt a lot. That's the way when I talked to Kenny Perry this week, he said, Chris, this is why you do this. This is why I do this. This is why the band director does to be on these kinds of stages where it's high stakes poker. You work your entire life, your professional life, to get to a point where you're playing or competing in these kinds of games to where it's supposed to be very emotional or hurt big time. And here you are. So you're damn right. If you want to let a little liquid awesome come out of the little salty discharge up there, go for it, man. Turn it loose. It's been since 1955, man. 1955 since you won an outright conference championship, and you are a double-digit favorite in front of what should be a very passionate pro Texas Tech crowd. There'll be a lot of BYU people there too. They travel, they'll be passionate too, but that want to see this with their own eyes. And I don't blame them, because I want to see it too.
No doubt. And thank you for reminding us, right down to the band director, the bus driver, the jockstrap bag carrier, everybody in between, pulling in the same direction to get this thing to where it's been so far, and hopefully just the beginning of a very, very exciting December and January. Okay. This question here, Peyton, Brian, Coleman, William, Larry, I'm sure I'm going to miss several because they're asking about a classic Chris level lean in. They want to talk quarterbacks, Chris, and the future, if you'd indulge us for just a moment. But to hear the answers to that, you'll need to be a Matador Mob insider. So hit our show notes and find a link to a free 14-day trial. He's already leaning in, folks. For those on the outside,
I've got a lot to tell you.
This is where we leave you. He may jump to the camera on this one. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you don't miss a thing, and become a Matador Mobster today for less than a cup of coffee a month, so you can get the full Mailbag experience next week. Have a great weekend, unlike any other we've ever had as Red Raiders, everybody. And we hope to see you back on the other side to catch up on everything going down in Arlington and looking ahead to more football. Chris, appreciate you, man. On to the OT.
Yeah, man, I appreciate all of you. I hope to see many of you at AT&T or at Dickies on Sunday. Take the place over. Wear your red, wear your black, do your thing, enjoy it, soak it up, be early, stay late, all of it. These don't happen often. And in fact, this is a scenario that's never happened. So, if you heed any advice, man, don't be late to that stadium Saturday morning. Show up early, be ready, be posted up. Ask for the ball, like young Chris Level used to do in the post when you get on that left block, throw around that baby hook shot. Couldn't block it. So anyway, but yeah, enjoy it. Thank you for being a part of this. And thank you for all the new subscribers that have joined this thing. I'm not hearing as much smack talk from the BYU folks this week because our channel was lagging. But anyway, let's talk some quarterbacks.
Let's do. Thanks to the everydayers for always riding along, and the Matador Mob for keeping our mailbag runnething over ing. Thank you so much for the time. For Chris, I'm Casey. We hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.